Hello, I'm Todd Phillips, the editor of Canadian Auto Dealer. We're here today with Ryan Finch, the president of Finch Auto Group. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Well, we're here today to talk about an extraordinary donation that Ryan made to his community to help support mental health. $5 million donation, really got a lot of headlines. And Ryan, I really wanted to give you props, first of all, for that. Certainly a cause of great concern right across the country. And so tell us a little bit about that. What was the motivation behind that particular donation? What led you to the point where you decided, I really need to do something here?
Well, first off, thanks for having the interview and kind of shining the light on what I think is a pretty important cause these days. We started, I took over my dad's Pontiac dealership, 25 years ago or something, and we lost the Pontiac store. Pontiac got phased out, but by the time we lost Pontiac, I had bought a couple other dealerships and had a small little auto group. And once I had kind of a critical mass of employees and teammates, I started to notice that people were struggling. And, I grew up in that sort of suck it up era, be mentally tough kind of thing. And once I got a little bit lightly involved in the mental health system, I started to realize these people didn't need to suck it up. They needed a little bit of help or coaching or some resources. So my assistant, Dana, who's just amazing, she found a program we could pay for that would go on top of all of our employees' benefits plan. It's called an employee assistance plan, an EAP. And it gave all our staff and their immediate family members 365, 24/7 mental health care support. So if you're having a rough day, even if it's, if it happens to be something, if it's drinking, if it's gambling, if it's managing money at home, if it's mental health, whatever the issue is, you were able to reach out. And Dana and I would get summaries of what the general reach outs were about. We couldn't believe it. Like the amount of maybe suicide iterations or the amount of, anyway, there was just a tremendous amount of it worked, the program. And it dawned on us that maybe we should be doing more in the mental health space. So that led to us getting into partnership with the Breakfast of Champions, which they do every year in London. They raise, I think, around $1 million a year. They get about 1,000 people at the convention center, and they bring in an amazing speaker that talks about their mental health journey. Usually you've heard of the person, usually they're a bit famous. And that kind of got me really starting to understand mental health struggles even more. And my one of our core business philosophies was to give back to the communities, to connect to the community that we sort of thrive off of. So we've always been doing that, but watching what's happened over the last 5 years and, see so many things like the homelessness problem in the world, but Ontario and London, my backyard, the drug addiction, gun violence, all these things trend back to mental health. And so it just felt like the right place to put a big donation. And I've got a lot of tailwinds in my life. I worked really hard and I made good decisions and all that stuff too, but I have had a lot of tailwinds. It felt like, I'm getting near 50 now, and in my late 40s, it felt like time to kind of do something like this. And mental health was just the right pick, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's extraordinary. Thanks for sharing that with us. And it's interesting when you think about that profile of what was going on in terms of just the dealership employees and their personal life and, just how serious that problem was. I guess that visibility made you realize like people do need help. And anyone who's tried to navigate the mental health system, certainly on their own, anyone with the mental health challenge, recognizes how broken and disconnected that journey is. So tell us a bit about some of where that money is going to be applied in terms of, I understand there's some new research and some new areas that are going to make a difference.
Yes, no, it's, hopefully the donation helps, anybody out there that's struggling, hopefully it helps them get access. It is going to help with that, but it's mostly going to go to research. It's creating a chair that will focus solely on research, come up with community tools, techniques, processes that can help better handle mental illness in the community. And then it sort of trickles down and becomes almost like a train the trainer type situation. So the people that are interacting with, mental health situations are better trained and have some of these tools at their disposal. So it's mostly going to research, and hopefully that research will lead to helping a lot of Southwestern Ontario people that are struggling. That hospital, it's not just a London-based hospital. It actually reaches quite a bit north, south, east, west of London. It's a regional mental health center. So it's hopefully going to do a lot of good.
Well, it's interesting. I was back in London this summer in your backyard for a reunion of the journalism program at Western where I went, and I was
Oh,
really taken aback actually how many homeless people there were. I didn't remember that back when I went to school there. I guess
yeah.
in the '90s, not to date myself, but obviously, so you're seeing that in your backyard, in your community, and you're putting your money up to do that. I love these stories, Ryan. I mean, dealers are the most generous people in their communities across Canada. Every year we do a feature story in our December issue called Champions of Charity, and we definitely want to be profiling this donation, and it tends to motivate other dealers to recognize that just good ideas of ways they can help in their community. So, um,
Yeah, well, appreciate that. Spread the good word.
and also you've been getting a tremendous amount of sort of media coverage and exposure in your community. But tell us a bit about some of that, because interviews like this and those type of things help you amplify the message as well. So tell us a bit about, if you will, your ambassadorship in that domain.
Well, it's there's been a lot of exciting things going on. I mean, I'm not somebody I'm not really that comfortable with the media and interviews and that type of thing, but I've got to do a bunch of them to kind of shine a light on this donation and the cause. And no, I think it's great. I mean, sadly, mental health still has a stigma. It doesn't make sense, but it does. People, in fact, when we started talking at the hospital about making the donation, they came back to us and said, okay, if you're thinking about making a donation in this sort of range, we'd like to change the name of the mental health building, to your family name or your name or whatever. And at first we were a bit confused. So that wasn't something we were looking for, but they eventually explained it to us that people are quite excited to make donations and put their name on cardiac, cancer, pretty much, orthopedic, all that stuff. But for some reason, there's still a stigma, and there wasn't somebody stepping up to put their name in mental health. So when I heard them sort of explain it that way, we absolutely, sure, let's do it. Let's make that donation and let's put the name on the building and let's try to break down this stigma even a little bit more. So it's been really an exciting adventure. It was fun making the decision a year and a half ago, and leading up to it, it was kind of fun planning it. A couple of weeks prior, it got a little stressful. I don't mind public speaking. I kind of have to do it sometimes for a living, but getting up and doing that one was different. It was very personal. My kids were there. A couple hundred people were there, like friends, family members, like business partners. I was worried I was going to get up there, cry my eyes out, but I was able to get the message across. And I really just hope that everyone out there, in Southwestern Ontario understands that we care and we want to help. It's a flawed system, but if the private sector leans into it and pushes at it, I think we can really make a change.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And one question I have for you is, you mentioned all your friends and family members and work colleagues. What impact has it been to people within your dealership? I mean, now they're working for, an employer who is visibly, not only providing the employee assistance, support to help them get through and become, more productive and healthy or whole in their day-to-day life, but you're also giving that sizable donation to the community. How does it, make them feel about working with the Finch Auto Group and feeling, I guess, supported if they have issues?
Well, thanks for asking that question. It's an easy one. I wanted everyone I work with to know that I'm just not somebody hoarding my success and hoarding my tailwinds and not caring about, what's going on in the community. So that was, a big part of the donation. I want my teammates to realize that, this is about all of us. It's not, I think that message was loud and clear. I my partners were very excited about this donation. They were very proud that our auto group, and I, in my speech, I spoke directly to my partners. I mean, if they didn't decide to take a chance on me and partner up with me in a dealership and run that dealership with me, I never would have been able to make this donation. So, this donation is a collaboration between me and my partners and me and my family, my mom and dad, my brother, helps run the group with me. So it really was a collaboration, and that feedback's come back to me. It's been quite rewarding, and it's felt great. And I've even had teammates, employees send me notes and say, you maybe don't know this, but my child's transgender. And, it's the last couple of years have been very challenging, and the mental health system lets transgender people down, and your donation is going to make a difference in my child's life. I got those types of heartfelt thank yous, and it's emotional. It really is. It's, yeah.
I guess you get to see, not only in the community side, when people reach out like that, you actually see just, how important it is to as you say, destigmatize and be able to talk about these issues. Because in the workforce, I'm of the same generation where, you don't talk about those issues. And if someone had a mental health issue, or they certainly wouldn't bring it to the attention of their employer, because they would feel, recrimination or, lack of job prospects. So it's very progressive to be showing that the dealership world is open to these kind of
Well,
conversations.
Todd, you kind of hit on something that was a driving force behind this from the start. I mean, in the very beginning, we were looking at this from the standpoint of how do we help our teammates, right? That was the main driving part of it, motivation. But very quickly, I realized that, hang on, approaching mental health in the workplace is a potential opportunity for employers. Like the happier and healthier our teams are, the better they're going to go and perform when they're interacting with their customers and their coworkers and that kind of thing. So I did it initially because it was the right thing to do, but then I quickly realized, hey, this is a competitive advantage. So I now see it as not as an expense, but as an investment and a competitive advantage over other businesses that don't lean into this tricky space, right?
Well, excellent. And you're 100% right. And there's not an individual watching this video interview that isn't touched by mental health, either in their life or family life, or certainly among the work colleagues. So again, kudos to you, and appreciate you taking the time today to share with us, Ryan. It's a super good example of why car dealers are really so well respected. You know, it's this kind of work that they do in their communities that deserves to be recognized.
Well, thanks so much, Todd. I appreciate you shining a light on this great cause, and the interview was fun. Thank you.
Okay, you have a great day.
You too.